So there is code on screen. Pause if you want to look at it, because every 6 or so seconds I'll probably scroll to the next, well, quote-unquote page. But yeah, just to go and show, I didn't make much this video. I actually wanted to make perks that you get on level up, but I just gave them to the character because what I wanted to showcase instead was essentially how you can make basically status effects evolve in a very, very basic way. You could add a lot more to this, make a whole mechanic go more in depth, but I figure I should do something small, especially because I don't have a lot of time myself, so that it is partially just me. This is the big meat of this Ito file, however. Basically just incrementing a variable every time you do something, in this case winning combat, and then when you win 5, then you get a new status effect, and you remove the one, yeah, you have to remove the one that you have, obviously, but you get the point. And then we move on to the actual second Ito file, or the second custom content. Again, nothing too fancy here, it's just a matter of putting the text that helps out. But then we have an added prizes code here, where basically this is just to add other stuff when you get this status effect, or when you evolve into the status effect in the case of the mechanic. But really it's when you add this status effect to the character, then you get all of these. In this case it's going to be stats, and then a message log that spits something out. I didn't need to add another message log, by the way, but as I show you the other part here, again, this is just a simple effect. In fact, I could even remove this. I forgot to, but you get the point. This works perfectly fine on its own, and when testing, it should work. And if it doesn't work this video, then I will be a little bit surprised. But otherwise, yeah, not really much else to speak on there. Let's get into the run, and let's get this party started. Pretty much, again, 2 episodes, so maybe next episode I'll add another status effect that evolves, or maybe I'll add a perk that also allows me to get it on level up, basically. But as we get actually as a task, what was that? What was the backstory there? I forgot. We'll just make it hard for no reason though. So Zektast, we'll say, I always say Knight Errant. I think I'm just gonna do ill-fated, or maybe I do ill-fated all the time, but you get the point. We'll pick one. You know what, actually, no, we'll pick this one, because Zektast things, unless I'm forgetting. I feel like I'm forgetting if there's one that's harder, aside from Commoner. Although Commoner we have... You know what? Let's do Rash Decisions instead. So, without further ado, because this is going to be interesting, because this character starts... I left this character's base bonuses, but I added, obviously, the status effect that I added at the very beginning. So, for timestamp's sake, as we actually get Rash Decisions Zektast, yeah, so we can't do Prepare Action. However, we have faster actions in general. That will help this character, especially on this run, because we have Zektast as well. Her stats are quite high, in my opinion, but maybe even if luck is like 0, it could be negative, really. And this stat line, I would still take the stat line over like negative 99 luck. And then on top of that, this status effect, however, again, I don't have a graphic because I didn't have time to make a graphic, but yeah, you get 3 experience after every investigation. This part's important and I'll explain later, but this will evolve into basically the world, which is what I made, and you get more experience, I think. Okay, yeah, 5 experience after every investigation, and then all of your stats increase by 1. So, Shrug, Strength, Light, Second Encounter, Charisma, Second Mystery, and maybe Takshisan, but we have every single non-stat check, and then a strength check, but that's only if Zektast allows, because at this point on a Zektast run, even though this character has a lot of stats to start out with, I promise you it will start to decrease. Now again, getting the upgraded perk after defeating 5 enemies will help out immensely. But as we get Footage Botanist, Household Hell, Goal, and Arcade, a lot of Forced Investigation, so let's just take a Forced Mystery now. And yeah, we won't prepare here because we want to try and save on stuff. Max threat level downtown, low forest, low village, max mansion. We'll do downtown here. Again, pretty much always want to do this, even though it increases doom for Zektast reasons. Yeah, and then we'll actually take Gruesome Totem here as well. That'll be more doom for us to use. And we'll actually equip it relatively quickly, unless we... Yeah, unless we do a thing. I forgot that our Impulse also has an event thing, so I should be picking the left one as much as possible. Now, getting Mind Wipe, on the other hand, isn't as great, but Curse RNG is Curse RNG. Let's actually... Nah, Max Mansion. Even if I get the event where it decreased Doom, I don't think I'm going to win out. So, yeah, we'll pick the left option. Usually there's not really a reason not to. There are more than a few events, however, that we're picking the left option, even with losing -1 all due to the Impulse background, which is a perk-specific background. Here's your occasional reminder. Yeah, it's not worth it. So now here's hoping we actually fight enemies. So the whole design behind this, the thing I've made. Oh my sweet goodness, really? Is that because of low stamina? Alright, we're making a cut here. So here's the disclaimer, by the way, or notice, but disclaimer, basically the, I think it was the hunger curse that's missing from the character. The character does not have a hunger image file. Also, yes, this gives me a time to pick the right backstory because we had Eldritch Parasite in the beginning. But yeah, so the character I think is missing a hunger file, and so it's trying to look for a hunger image file that I'm pretty sure is not there if I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. There's no hunger status effect, so really, if I can force, actually, you know what? Let's showcase it here. So before I restart this, we are going to do this. Also, I think, did I have the suicidal status effect? If we didn't, then let me just showcase this really quickly. Might as well add a timestamp here because this is important to talk about. So, well, let's do hunger. And then we'll try again. I'm pretty sure that's what I got. Because I'm pretty sure I got that event that I failed in. I didn't check. But it gave me a curse, and the curse just happened to be hunger, which crashed the game because the hunger file didn't, the character's Ito file linked to a status effect that did not exist. So now we have hunger, but you'll notice there's no graphic because I basically just deleted it. So if I were to show, yeah, you know what? I should just show you this as well. Going through some custom content phase of this. So basically, this is what it looked like. This is what it should look like. This will not crash the game, but if you put, say, blah 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 hunger PNG, and this file does not exist, it will crash the game because it's looking for a file that does not exist. So yeah, that's the part about that. And then also something else to note. We might as well go over it here as well. But if I can transition, so I can switch over. I'm pretty sure the last I checked, and this is not Perm's fault. This is just the design of custom content at the moment. So. I think it's suicidal is what this character normally has. Let's reload again. Again, once you queue out of the game and hear that beep and go through this loading screen, in between when it resets, when you after the character after the end of the run, and when the game restarts is when things load again. So let's just make sure that it appears. Maybe curses do appear, but maybe they don't. So, okay, it does appear. But, yeah, so you can use curse, but I normally, using status, as you may have seen me, or I called it status for bonuses, that works too. And the reason why that's important is because I feel like if curses work, then I think it was injuries that does not work. Or maybe Perm does fix that, but you get the point. It's whole lot of, there's very specific syntax, and you have to be very specific in what does, and you do have and what you do not have. So yeah, we were on Eldritch Parasite, or we randomized Eldritch Parasite, I forgot, but let's finally actually get into this. No timestamp needed. Well, actually, timestamp needed here. So Eldritch Parasite Zectast, but yeah. So we just deleted the reference to the hunger PNG because that's not there. I pulled this character directly from the Discord server, so if it was there, but for some reason it wasn't when the character was uploaded, I'm shrugging real life. I don't know because I'm not the creator. So strange knowledge. Next, the only thing I created for this video was this status effect that was specifically for Perm, second encounter light, and then second mystery. So yes, here's your also occasional reminder that if you do not have Perm, then you will not be able to do the same thing I'm doing here. Even if I release this custom content, you need Perm. So shrug. But library notes, maybe we get a thing. No, we don't. And off we go. We're not going to actually go through the process of grabbing Mind Drain and or Ghostly Spirit, just to see how far we can go with this shovel. Keep in mind we're on Zectast as well, so our stats are going to fall, but we want to fight as many enemies as possible. Anyway, Household Held, Vigil, Ward, Notations, and Gold. So we'll take Notations now, probably Ward into Gold. Depends on how things go. And we're going to immediately Witch Tree. If I can get Hunger just to show off... Well, actually, no, I showed it off. I'm going crazy. Anywho, let's move on. 5 Doom for this? No, we won't do that. And off we go. So the particular thing about, again, so let me just continue what I was talking about, I think, is that for the status effect that I made, or basically the perk or status effect, yeah, we'll call it status effect, this will evolve, but the reason why I made it give experience after investigation is because I didn't want you to be able to level up. It's kind of a balancing decision. If you want to, but normally providing the player with experience when you enter an event is going to be better, because then if for some reason you say, you lose reason here, you can't level up after you have 0 reason, or 0 stamina. So you get so on and so forth. You get what I'm trying to say here. Maxed out, I didn't check my maxed out levels. School and village. I'm just going to monkey brain and do school. Brute force, simplify, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we're just going to pick the easier option. Usually you're visiting the school a lot more than village. if you're using every single piece of custom content that's available in the wild, I feel fairly certain you're still visiting the school much more often than you're visiting the village location. That's not to say the village location should be a main location to visit, but I feel like that's the case. Now, all things considered, only losing about 6 stamina, 1 reason so far is pretty good, but the problem is that we're not fighting any enemies. So as I get into the second part of this basically status effect I'm using, it's that, yeah, if you end up not fighting a lot of enemies, especially for experience, any status effect or perks that increases your experience per whatever, you want that earlier rather than later, because if you get something like that, a perk or status effect like that later, you don't get as much experience, and that can mean the difference between leveling up or even making certain different decisions, really. That's the more micromanaging option, but you get the point. You usually want more experience earlier. That sounds pretty reasonable, I think, but feels important to kind of mention that right out the gate. Now, we do have the handcuffs. If we want to take just stamina damage in the face, we could. The problem is stamina is usually what we're missing a lot of, so shrug. We're actually going to take that occult diary because I want these stats to stay pristine for the next 2 investigations, or until the boss, basically. Could also sell these prescription pills, but shrug, right? We don't need the funds now. We can't even visit the vending machine or use those funds if needed. Now, unfortunately, not being able to do more there is pretty painful, but hey. And then in the second episode, if I get to do it, I'll basically make perks. It's not too much different. You just basically say in the character's eto file with perm that you want to add the perks to level up options. So, yeah, Survival Instinct, funny enough, not going to be helpful in Eldritch Parasite because you have so much stamina and reason. By the time you're at 2 or below reason, you're probably dead. So, yeah, we're going to take Winging It instead. That's normally not what I'd take. I'd probably take Quick Thinking, but I want the thingamajiggy. I accidentally rested, by the way, I think. Because you can click on the thing you can click on the game while you're in screens like that. That's not what I wanted to see. Thankfully, we can still do Desperate Prep Strong, but... and we never gave the package, so that's going to be a problem. But we need to defeat enemies. This evolution of a status effect is going to still be helpful. I don't think can you dig out extra funds with the shovel? Says this. I'm probably one of the few players who should know that information, but I don't. So, shrug. But into goal we go. This is also gonna hurt. So I think, funny enough, our second encounter might just be the boss of goal. Like, I don't know what else to say. That's just the truth of the matter here. So it would be nice, and I'm still gonna take, even though I could take a risk. I don't even remember what the left option of that custom event does, but even if it gave experience, I'd still take the free out. It's really hard to argue against just taking a free thingamajiggy. Also, what is this for again? There was no image in there, so I was a bit confused. Unless that is the image, but that's usually the default image when you don't provide one. But otherwise, okay, this is our second encounter. At least note it in case we get to the end of the run. How much? I don't know if we're going to get a lot of experience, but the important part is getting to evolve the status effect, the Fool we have. And we get 4 experience for it, but again, the most important part was doing a thing. What happens when we go left? Let's find out. Pick it? Nope. Because why do stats exist? That was a fair roll, but why do stats exist? So, we unfortunately don't have a damaging spell. It would have been nice, but instead we'll just take what we can get here. Now, entering our 4th mystery with 16 stamina, 17 reason, if you're a very strategic player and you know how to play World of 4, it's not so bad, and especially with the Doom we have. The other side of that is that Eldritch Parasite is very, very painful because we can't heal with all this Doom, and our stats falling can make a difference. As it will, as soon as our strength, I think it's like 5, we can't do Prep Strong anymore, but we'll see. So probably Vigil into Household Hell, even though I can't rest anyway. So normally the reason I take Vigil into Hell is because I want a town mystery to rest in. That's not the case, but we still want to open up the town, I think, in the last mystery that allows you to do things like Monument, Tree if you're really looking for spells or funds for whatever reason, so on and so forth. We can also store the Hospital Pass, but meh. I like to open 2 slots anyway unless there's something I really need, because grabbing the Meat Cleaver to throw later on in Vigil is, it can help. So, as I just mentioned, we're going to grab the meat cleaver now. We're actually going to skip these enemies, even though I said I want to grab the enemies as soon as possible. I would if we had more bosses, but because we don't, I'm just going to walk forward and ignore the do the vigil, basically. Now, this is our 4th encounter, but as I throw the meat... Actually, no, let's save the meat cleaver for another one. Because we have Doom to spare, even though we are about to lose one of every stat again. It doesn't change the fact we can prep strong for the moment. And thankfully, even with... even at 43-ish% Doom, we have 4 knowledge, which is important for ghost encounters, basically. I'm just giving you a lot of base advice because I can't... I didn't actually get to fight 5 enemies right away. This is not normal, by the way. Normally, you are fighting 5 to 6 enemies before your 4th even mystery. I feel like that's the case. And if it's not the case, well, shrug, right? So, we'll take Doom there. I was hoping that wasn't stamina, but it was, thankfully, Doom. So, quick thinking, I guess. Take strength. Off we go, because when we get the evolution status effect, which the name I said before the timestamp, but as we actually enter a ghost encounter here, does this matter? It does. I have to run, actually. Yeah, we can't fight this. Between this and dying, I would, yeah, obviously try and survive. So, yeah, off we go. That's roads closed into household hell, so that's gonna make me feel a bit worse about Doom, but my stamina and reason are now what I'm worried about. So, off we go. We'll keep this with us for the sake of maybe ghost encounters later on, but we'll see. Is there a random ghost in the school location? There's a ghost through an event. We're going to try to save on reason here. If we have the thingy-majiggy, we're just going to take the item here. Because we have the Doom to spare, I would rather take extra strength. A shrug. We also do need to get rid of Frostbite as well, so, yeah. But, yeah, we'll just do our best. So, that was a lot of Doom I spent there, but getting rid of Frostbite was still, important to me, so... Yeah, running into a lot of all enemies really makes me feel sad. I think we can take this one hit. I'm just gonna take this one hit. And we're funny enough, I think I might actually... Do we have an ally? We don't. I'm actually going to throw the shovel. We could throw the ring, but... And yeah, so now we get an evolution to the status effect. Again, that's conceptually what's happening. I called it upgrade here because it is an upgrade. But now we get 5 experience after every investigation and 1 plus to all stats. So even if Zigtas slaps us here, we still have 8 strength. So I have a lower stamina threshold I can be at before the end. Now, getting drenched isn't nice, but... And yeah, we're slowly losing reason. We don't have a light source and we don't have 8 charisma, so we do need to be wary of having 5 for lower reason. If we level up again and grab a thing, it would be nice. We at least have a weapon. But, actually, don't we have another weapon? No, we don't. I'm thinking. I don't think this is going to go well for me. Let's find out. If I had to guess, even though I look really good right here, I'm going to say I lose this run. Yeah, I lost the run. So, we need to see leadership on the level up. If not, we actually just have to reroll. Actually, no, we can't. Because you know what's going to happen when we do that? We're gonna reach the lighthouse, and then we did see leadership. If we didn't see, I would have to roll, because we're gonna lose 3 reason. The next thing that needs to happen now, as we... Unfortunately, that actually killed me. Oh my sweet goodness, no! Also, it's low... Was it low stamina? There's no way low stamina... Okay, well... Place or bets. Well, actually, no. 3 reason, I was pretty sure to die. I don't think there's any way to save myself aside from... No, there's no way to save myself. So, why is this breaking? Low stamina. Oh, is that why it's breaking? Let's fix this right here, right now. It's a non-existing sprite, so that is a graphic problem. So maybe... No, hunger still doesn't exist here. So, let me see here. Is this the one that's breaking? No, it is not. Why is it breaking, then? Oh! I know why it's breaking. So, well, let's fix this right now. So we can fix this now before we reset or restart the game. So let's do this. But I will show you what I changed here. So I'm going to make the change now. Oops, that's a capital letter. But you can't see what I'm doing. I'll show you in a moment. So this needs to be changed to this. Oh, is that? No. Yeah, okay. And then let's restart the game. So let me just make sure I saved it before I show you. So as the game restarts, I will throw up my text file, Sublime, and I'll show you what I changed. So this was also the problem. So at first, well, hunger still doesn't exist. So I did fix that, and I know that crashes. But this was also the change as well, because it's Korone, but it should be Kotone. That's the character's name, and so this should fix it. If I enter, so we can easily check this. I did not prepare a specific situation. I just know of a specific situation. So let us enter a run quickly and basically put our stamina below 10. But, I mean, place your bets to see whether, if you were gonna guess whether or not I survived the run I did. But, yeah, otherwise, I mean, I showed off what I wanted to show off. Let's reroll mysteries here. Now, I should actually prepare a custom mystery that allows me to test this. It would be much easier, but you can do the same by basically finding the mystery flood. This is my lazy way of doing it, by the way, or laziest way, even though the laziest way, sorry. And my lazier way is to find flood, but the laziest way would be to make a custom mystery that starts with whatever I need, whether it's an enemy, so I can fight, whether it's an event, so I can test a stat check, so on and so forth. So, to test this out, we want to go with low stamina, so we do this. Then we just do, like, kicks or something. And so, yeah, now low stamina is working out. So it was a change in the character. Again, I pulled this character directly from the Discord server, so if it's not changed and you want to fix it yourself, what I showed you is what you have to do. And along with the hunger status effect, because I'm pretty sure that is not in the character's file, right? Yeah, it's not in the character's file. And if I'm going crazy, then I'm going crazy. But yeah, without further ado, not really much else to say. I'm pretty sure I lost the run, so I'll end on a screen. But yeah, if you have anything to say, you know what to do. Otherwise, I'll see you later in the next video.